Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Regarding the concept of the hereafter, the misconception I'd like to bring into discussion today relates to the guarantee of paradise which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has given to a person or to parents who rear three female children, three daughters, and then wed them and of course treat them kindly, that if they do such a thing, then they shall end up in paradise. Now, the words of this narrative, which is ascribed to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and is found in Sunan Abi Dawud and reported by Abu Sayyid al-Khudri, the words are, Man ala salasa banatin fa'attabahunna wa zawwajahunna fa'ahsana ilayhinna falahul jannah. Which means that, that those people who rear three daughters and then they properly educate them and properly instruct them and then have them married off and then also treat them kindly, then for such people, paradise is mandatory. They'll go to paradise. Now, first of all, it needs to be understood that all such narratives have a particular context. And before that actual context is actually divulged, another thing that needs to be understood is that all such narratives have certain things which are understood. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is speaking while considering certain things which he thinks that are already understood. For example, for such people, it is understood that they'll be true Muslims, they'll be practicing Muslims, they will not be rebellious to God. So therefore, once they are in such a state, and after that they rear three daughters and have them wedded off and treat them kindly, then for such people, paradise has been promised. It is not that if people start rearing three daughters and do as this narrative says, and they are absolutely weak Muslims or non-practicing Muslims, will they end up in paradise? As I said, all such narratives have certain understood things in them, and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he speaks to his companions, when he speaks to people in such a way, he always has this in mind, that the person he's talking to is already a practicing Muslim, and it cannot be said at all that such a person who is not a practicing Muslim, and if he does these three things, then he'll end up in paradise. Secondly, another thing which needs to be understood, which I just mentioned in the beginning, that there is also a context to such narratives. And it is very evident that the context of this narrative is the background of the Arab attitude towards female offspring, which was found there. We know from the Quran and Arab traditions that Arabs would not like daughters. They would regard them to be despicable, and they used to hate them. So, and we also know from the Quran that they used to bury live female offspring, which is of course a heinous practice. It is in the background of all this that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, in order to urge people to rear daughters, has said these words. So we know that there's a particular context to all such things, and the context to this particular narrative is the background which was found in Arabia of those times, which, as I said earlier, related to their heinous practice of burying alive their daughters. So in the wake of this, the Prophet said that those people who rear three daughters and then have them wedded off and properly instruct them and also show them kindness, then for them paradise is there. So this narrative has this particular aspect as well, which one needs to understand. And in a nutshell, I would just reiterate here that these narratives, when they promise reward or they promise paradise, then this paradise, of course, is conditional upon to certain other things, which, as I said earlier, is that they should be practicing Muslims and they should be people who observe the limits of God. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات.